Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here, and I've been playing Project Cars 2 for about a week now. After it was sent in for review, I have some thoughts about the game, so I want to share them with you. Now, I've been a racing game fan for a very long time, and although most series tend to shift to a more arcadey style, Project Cars 2 seems to have doubled down on their original simulation formula. As soon as I fired up the first couple of races, I could really tell that this game was designed for hardcores, and there's a couple of reasons why. By default, the game starts you off with some limited assists, as well as a 70% difficulty for your AI. If it's your first real racing sim game, you'll find a really hard time finishing anywhere but last. However, after tweaking some of the settings, it should be a lot more manageable for most players. Now, the way I would describe the handling and physics model in Project Cars 2 is that it's a game designed to be played with a wheel. However, if you're using a controller, you'll have to use that controller to replicate a wheel as best as you can. What that means is that you'll have to throttle through corners and slowly apply your brakes, or else you'll find it very difficult to stay competitive anywhere but on the lowest setting. However, if a slightly more serious racer is what you're in the market for, Project Cars 2 does a really great job in a lot of different categories. First off, graphically, it is a pleasure to look at, and it runs at a pretty steady 60 frames per second on console. Additionally, it sounds incredible, one of the things about this game that easily stand out the most. Additionally, it also has a great selection of cars and tracks. Although there are less than 200 cars, these cars span a huge amount of disciplines and classes and make the variety of cars in the game feel like there's a lot more than there actually are. Additionally, there is a ton of tracks here and also a ton of customizability on these tracks with the dynamic weather. There are truly a lot of settings and features when it comes to the ability to customize your events, whether it's setting the time of day or the weather, or transitioning from one weather type to another, or even changing the season in which the race is taking place in. Although there is a pretty hefty career mode, I actually found the most fun to be had in the custom event mode, where I could tweak all of these settings, pick exactly the car I wanted on exactly the track I wanted, and just test out new and different cars on exciting new and different tracks. Whether it's taking a Ferrari around a racetrack in Italy or trying to maintain some sense of grip with a rear-wheel drive car on an ice track, there are a lot of options and a lot of different ways to experiment here. Additionally, in Project Cars 2, there is online multiplayer where you can play with other racers online. I had some luck getting into races, but I would also get kicked out without much notice, so they're still probably working on a couple of these issues. I really do think Project Cars 2 is almost like a sandbox for those who like simulation racing. There are so many options to keep you entertained here, but the game is far from perfect. I believe there are some serious issues. For example, if you're trying to get a qualifying time for a race and then skip to the end of that race without actually letting the timer run out, the AI will post literally undefeatable times. There also seems to be a serious issue with the way AI handles racing on snow and ice, and they seem to be unaffected by things like aquaplaning or losing traction on straightaways at high speeds. This makes races with certain cars on certain tracks under certain weather conditions almost impossible to win, even at the lowest setting possible. Now, you will have a race engineer before every race that can recommend different ways for you to tune your car in order to get better performance. Additionally, there are a ton of settings available for you to tweak your controllers, your dead zones, and your sensitivities, which will all help in some aspect. I think this is kind of where Project Cars 2 shines the most. It's just giving you as many features and as many options as possible, and kind of letting you do whatever you want with them. I wish more racing games would strive to deliver this feature-full racing experience that Project Cars 2 does. If the team can work to iron out some of the AI issues, I have no doubt that Project Cars 2 is one of the best racing games in recent years. At the same time, though, you want to keep in mind that Project Cars 2 is maybe a little bit of a niche racing game for those hardcore racers that really want that simulation feel. Thank you so much for watching my review. Drop a like if it was helpful. Special thanks to the amazing people on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you guys next time. Peace.